Welcome to Tibet TV. A Women Empowerment Desk of the Central Tibetan Administration was formally established in 2008 with aims to ensure gender perspectives are incorporated in the design, implementation and monitoring of all the programs of the Central Tibetan Administration. It works to ensure women and men participate in and benefit equally and strengthen CTA's capacity to address key issues facing Tibetan women and girls, including gender stereotypes and social attitude towards the role of women in society, workplace and home, among many others. As we observe the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, we will highlight the workings of the Women Empowerment Desk, its accomplishments, challenges and future steps in this episode. I am glad to invite Tsering Kyi, the head of Women Empowerment Desk, for this conversation. Welcome to the program, Tsering Kyi.
Thank you.
So Tsering Kyi, it is widely perceived that Tibetan women, in the Tibetan community, that Women Empowerment Desk is only associated with empowering women. Is that true, first of all? And if not, do you receive cases of male members of the community facing abuses?
Yeah, so it is often misconceived or misconception associated with the Women's Empowerment Desk and the work that we do. Having said that, Women's Empowerment Desk work does prioritize and focus more on the women's empowerment issue, but that does not mean that it does not, it is only restricted to that. So in our work, we raise awareness to all gender, and as you rightly mentioned, we also get cases from men too. And according to the Tibetan Women Helpline data, we have around from the 100%, 9% of men case being reported and handled by the TWH.
What are some of the gender-based issues that is prevalent in our community, but a larger part of us think that they do not exist?
Yeah, so I think one of the, in our work experience, what we have noticed and observed is one of the key challenges in our community is the normalization of gender norms and gender roles in our community, and also often not considering the issue of gender equality as an important issue in the community. So that often get overlooked, and due to which such normalization often results in perpetuating more gender stereotype in the community, and also it further reinforces these stereotypes, right? And that results in some of the gender-based issue, like we have a very fewer women representative or women leaders in our community, and more women experiencing experiencing violence at the hand of their partners, spouses, or from the family members, and less reporting of women and men experiencing gender-based violence, right? So these all exhibits that how in our community we also often need to check on our own attitude and behavior towards gender and towards oneself and towards other gender, and this needs to be mainstream from the very foundational stage of human being, where we often where we have an opportunity to question those challenges, question those behaviors and challenge those stereotypes, so that we could understand the impact it had on the larger community. So I think we need to prioritize, and we need to consider the normalization of gender roles and strict gender expectations, and it does have a larger problem in the community. Yeah.
So speaking on violence against women, do you think all kinds of violence against women, be it small or big, is a communal responsibility? If so, why?
Yeah, so when we talk about violence against women, right, be it big or small, I think it is a community issue, right? When we talk about this, we often talk about the socio-ecological model, right, where it happens to individual, and the individual had immediate surroundings, and then this surrounding is also surrounded by the larger community, right? And then the community is also reflected of the larger society, right? We often tend to maybe believe that violence with the women is often okay or normalized. So we need to challenge these kind of mindset. This will also reflect on how we as a community also prioritize, the issue like gender-based violence, and what are the redressal mechanisms. Is the redressal mechanism effective or not? If not, what sort of intervention we could need to do to further strengthen it, right?
Right. So staying on the same topic, on violence against women, what are some basic steps that schools and probably parents at home can do to teach their children the right and wrong, not just to women, not just to girls, but to boys and every gender.
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, in order to to bring changes, I think we as a parent from home, we need to first stop expecting, to your children or to your spouses based on their gender. The division of labor should be equally demarcated, not based on the gender, but based on who is more skilled at what, and based on their own availability, right? And at school level, I think definitely there has been a lot of intervention that has taken place under the Department of Education initiative, where we need to also have a gender responsive pedagogy, where how we talk to children's, based on their gender, and what are some of the examples that we are provided in the books, so all this mainstreaming also have a larger impact, I would say. And from the parent point of view, I think the parent also need to educate themselves, so that they also don't they will be a good role model to the children, and the children can start learning from there. Yeah.
Right. So can you now talk about some of the most common violence in any shape or form that women and girls in our community face? Also, what do you think is the root cause behind those abuses?
So from 2020, we have launched Tibetan Women Helpline, and if we look at the data of the Tibetan Women Helpline, we have most reported cases which is domestic violence. And when we talk about violence, it is not restricted only to physical violence, right? So it is emotional, psychological, social, sexual, and now digital as well, right? So domestic violence is one of the prevalent issue, and also sexual harassment of women, and then child abuse being some of the issue reported according to the TWH data. I think one of the major root causes in terms of more women experiencing gender-based violence is the patriarchal norms and behaviors that are prevalent in our community, even though we may tend to not acknowledge it, or many may not know about these behaviors could result in violence, right? Because in those strict gender rules and norms, and expecting certain people to behave certainly based on their gender, these strict expectations perpetuates and also reinforces gender stereotype, right? So these stereotypes also have a large impact on the young women and young girls who are more succumbs and become more vulnerable towards violence against women and girls. And therefore, it also sends a message to the larger community that such violences are okay to happen, and we tend to, many of the survivors still don't report about their incidences. So that's why I think, first of all, it's very important for the women themselves to be informed, like we shared earlier, and to know that whatever happened to them is not their fault, and they also need to know where the services are available, So therefore, whenever we have formed settlement committee members, we encourage them to visit settlements and raise awareness about their availability in the settlement, so that the people who have experienced this, they have adjacent friends and family members who would know about these, and then they can share this to the survivor of GBV, and then they can avail those services. And secondly is not to feel shamed or or scared of whatever happened to them, because as we were discussing, these are all because of the power dynamic of how a society is being structured, right? So therefore, I think they need to also know that as a survivor, they also have the right to seek help. They also have a right to avail those services. So they need not need to feel ashamed and stigmatized of the issue that they're. So that's why I was saying it's very difficult, right? Because the question of victim blaming also comes in.
Right.
Why didn't you spoke about it earlier? that's why I think it's very important for us to collectively work together, because it is not just the fault of who are experiencing to always utter a voice and be the one to do it first. We need to have a environment who is also very sensitive and very responsive towards such issue.
So that leads to the question, how informed are we as a society? Because you mentioned a few common kind of violence in our community, that's domestic violence or sexual harassment, and then there's you have a few child abuse cases as well. But how informed are we as a society in terms of marital rape or consent is a big thing. For women to ask for help, they first need to understand what they're going through, right? So do they understand, do the larger women in our community understand the concept of consent or marital rape and things like that?
So that's why I think, like I was saying earlier, it is very important to have these sort of conversation at home first, because I think a lot of times, because we also internalize those expectations, right? We also internalize those norms, and we think that maybe this happens to me because I deserve it, or maybe I didn't do it right? So it also shows the lack of awareness to the people who are experiencing it and people who are perpetrating it, right? So therefore, I think in terms of knowledge-wise, I think over the years, our community has made strides in terms of awareness on the gender and consent and what is considered rape, but I think we still have a long way to go in terms of achieving that equal community. So I think it is very important, first of all, to sensitize yourself and educate yourself on what is consent, what is rape, and does marital rape is also considered rape or not, because this is also a very big taboo and stigma attached topic. So a lot of women, I think, also experience this because they think that it is normal and that it happens to everyone, so I should also shut it down and just keep silence.
You spoke about, in terms of assistance, you spoke about Tibetan Women Helpline that was launched in 2020. Can you speak on other services or assistance that VED provides?
So we also have a safe space facilities right now across 5 settlements in the community. So the survivor of GBV, they can avail those services, and they need to first approach the SGBV committee members, and then they will assist in availing those services. So the safe space concept is like shelter homes where they can immediately get out from the abusive environment, and so far we have a very few number of people availing those services. I think that also shows a lack of information and lack of also scarcity and shame to avail those services, but we wanted to take this opportunity to share that it is for the survivor of GPV, and they need not feel ashamed and feel how to say insecure to avail those services. Yeah.
So you spoke of power dynamic. Do you think financial instability or financial independence plays a big role in these gender-based violence? Do you think, I know we have a growing number of women experiencing or women having financial independence. For those who don't, for those who live under their spouse's money or finances, do you think they are more vulnerable to violence at home?
Yeah, I mean, the research has also shown that women who are dependent on their spouses, like especially survivor of gender-based violence, they are more prone towards such abuses. So that's why economic independence is very important. That's why we encourage every girl, like in our community, most of our girls do have access to education, and but in terms of employment, right? So there again the gender roles comes in, where sometimes women who after getting married or after having a child, they stop working, and then maybe in that course of work, in that course they may become more susceptible to such kind of experiencing violence. And just to add to that, to the survivor who have an economic problem, the Tibetan Women Helpline also provides sustenance fund where they could avail those services. And then once their condition is at a better stage, then we discontinue that fund. So I think the survivor can also seek economic help from the Tibetan Women Helpline as well. Yeah.
Right. So shifting our discussion slightly, as declared by UN Women's Association, this year's theme for the 16 Days of Activism Against Gender-Based Violence is End Digital Violence Against Women and Girls. Can you tell us some of the programs that Women Empowerment Desk is undertaking this year as part of the initiative?
Yeah, so I think 16 Days of Activism Against Gender-Based Violence is an important initiative. It is a global campaign that is observed to end violence against women and girls. So this year theme, as you mentioned, is End Digital Violence Against Women and Girls. As we were talking earlier, so nowadays in the digital era, violence also happens digitally, right? So that has impact on them on equal ways, physically, emotionally, psychologically. So therefore, I think recognizing this importance of the theme, we have organized digital safety workshop to parents and to the students, so that they can also understand what are some of the do's and don'ts at the in a digital spaces. And also at the school level, we are organizing art and craft film screening on the theme and talk on the theme, right? And also we are organizing book circle where we are talking about women lived experiences of violence. For this campaign, we are collaborating with different stakeholders in our community and NGOs who are working towards this similar issue. So yeah, these are some of the activities that we are currently carrying forward till 10 December. Yeah.
Right. So I believe it is so important for men and boys to take part in these awareness programs that you just mentioned. What are the number of their participation look like, and also what can you speak on the impact of their participation can have?
Yeah, I think it is very important for men to also participate and take responsibility in this initiative and work on the gender equality, because this will also send a message in our community and also towards the other men that this is not just a women's issue, because when we talk about gender equality, it comprises of not just one section of people, it comprises all people. And this will also distort a lot of gender stereotypes that are currently existing in our community, that these are women's role and these are men's role, right? So if men started taking active participation, I think there will be a less gender stereotypes and less number of women experiencing violence and more number of men reporting violence, I think so. That's why I think we need to, not just men and other marginalized gender too. So therefore, I think men's participation will have a huge impact, maybe changing policies in terms of shifting dynamics in the community, in terms of also reducing disparities in the community. Yeah.
Right. So as you said, the way to create a equal society is for the men to participate in these awareness programs and discussions, right? Right. So for survivors who come to who reach out for help, how does your office ensure their security and confidentiality?
So when we receive a case, the Tibetan Women Helpline staff and all of us make sure that their name and the survivor dignities and safeties are protected. Therefore, we don't disclose their case detail until and unless needed to the to the concerned offices or to the individual. We are also learning and unlearning within our team how we can also improve our work towards ensuring the confidentiality, because confidentiality is also an important element which we tend to overlook in our community, right? So we tend to overshare every information because that also has a risk of people not reporting it further. Therefore, we also consider it as an important element, and we are commitment towards working to ensure that all survivors' safety and their dignities are being respected and protected. Yeah.
Right. So thank you so much, Tsering Kyi, for being here and shedding light on gender-based violence, which is a very important area of concern in our society.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much for watching this episode of In Conversation with Tibet TV. I will see you next time.